The internet was supposed to be a wild frontier of freedom, yet across the world, strange and absurd rules still chain its users. From governments that decide when you can game, to social platforms that ban nipples but not violence, to laws that turn memes into crimes, our digital lives are policed in ways stranger than fiction. These aren't rumors or legends. They're real rules, still enforced today, shaping how millions scroll, play, and speak in the online world. In China, gamers under 18 are still bound by a bizarre digital curfew. They're only allowed to play online games from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Fridays, weekends, and holidays. Yes, just one single hour a day. Facial recognition software is deployed to catch kids who try sneaking past the restriction. Imagine being mid-battle in an online RPG, only for the entire server to vanish at 9:01 p.m. As if the state itself has pulled the plug. It's not your parents grounding you. It's the government literally deciding when childhood ends for the night. In South Korea, the infamous shutdown law, also called the Cinderella Law, once made it illegal for anyone under 16 to access online games between midnight and 6 a.m. This wasn't just a parental guideline, it was national policy enforced through player IDs. While revised in 2021, the scars remain. Stories abound of teens rushing to log out before midnight as countdown clocks ticked like bombs. The irony? Offline play was untouched. You could still sit awake all night with a console, just not online. Digital bedtime, state mandated. In Germany, you can buy a violent shooter like Doom or Wolfenstein, but you'll find the swastikas, Nazi uniforms, and Hitler's face erased or replaced. Their ban on unconstitutional symbols is so strict that even decades-old games were censored beyond recognition. Until 2018, entire franchises had to be recoded to remove the imagery. The surreal part? You could watch the same films uncensored on TV, but games were treated like potential propaganda, an entire pixelated history rewritten for controllers. On Instagram, an exposed female nipple remains bannable content, while male nipples pass without question. This infamous nipple ban has fueled global protests like Free the Nipple, with activists projecting nipples onto New York billboards to prove the point. Even breastfeeding photos and post-mastectomy survivors were once flagged by AI as sexually inappropriate. The absurdity lies not just in the double standard, but in the fact that drawn nipples, cartoons, and even marble statues sometimes slip through. The line between art and indecency? 1 pixel wide. In Saudi Arabia in 2018, the government banned 47 video games outright, including Grand Theft Auto V, Assassin's Creed, and The Witcher 3. The official reason? Violations of regulations, after reports of 2 children tragically taking their lives in connection to the Blue Whale online challenge. But the ban swept across blockbuster franchises with no direct link to the event. Overnight, millions lost access to beloved titles, not because of gameplay violence, but because of a panic-fueled purge against digital demons. In Japan, until recently, it was illegal to resell digital game activation codes. The Unfair Competition Prevention Act made even trading a key for a game like Final Fantasy punishable by prison. A man in Osaka was once arrested for modifying and reselling Pokémon save data, as if altering your own file for profit was grand larceny. While other countries treated mods as gray zones, Japan codified them as criminal enterprise. A cheat code that once meant fun could mean handcuffs. In the United States, the DMCA, Digital Millennium Copyright Act, makes it technically illegal to jailbreak your own gaming console, even if all you want is to play older titles you already own. Modding a PlayStation to run vintage imports, or hacking a Nintendo Switch just to tweak settings, can result in lawsuits and takedowns. In one surreal twist, librarians argued for exemptions just so they could preserve old games as historical archives. Owning your device doesn't mean controlling it. It means renting freedom under law. In the Philippines, the 2012 Cybercrime Prevention Act made cyber libel a criminal offense. That means a single angry Facebook post or a sarcastic tweet about a politician can land you in jail. Ordinary citizens have been dragged to court for memes, satire, and defamatory emojis. Imagine a laughing, crying emoji as legal evidence. While many countries treat online insults as civil issues, here it's prison time. The digital slip of a finger can suddenly weigh like a felony. In Germany and Austria, the game Manhunt is banned outright, not just censored. Possessing it is treated like owning contraband media, the same category as illegal pornography. This Rockstar game, infamous for brutal stealth kills, was deemed so corrupting that even importing a copy risks confiscation. For years, collectors spoke of smuggling it across borders, whispering about it in forums like it was forbidden treasure. A disc with polygons became a dangerous object, as if pixels themselves were weapons. In Thailand, insulting or mocking the king on social media can lead to years in prison under strict lèse-majesté laws. Citizens have been arrested for sarcastic tweets, memes, or even failing to stand during the royal anthem shared online. One man received a sentence for posting altered photos of the monarch's dog. The absurdity is that a GIF or a Facebook joke isn't just offensive, it's criminal. The digital kingdom extends beyond the screen, where humor itself becomes treason. In China, streamers are forbidden from eating bananas seductively on live streams. The rule came after officials argued such acts were suggestive and corrupted online audiences. Platforms like Douyin and YY had to issue guidelines on how fruit could be consumed on camera. No slow chewing, no licking, no over-exaggerated gestures. What should have been a snack became a cultural battlefield, where even the curve of a banana was censored into obedience. In United Arab Emirates, using a VPN to hide your identity online is punishable by massive fines up to $545,000 and even jail time. While much of the world encourages VPNs for privacy, in the UAE they're treated as a tool for deception. Stories spread of workers fined for simply watching geo-locked content or making free calls on WhatsApp. In a country where luxury gleams in the skyline, hiding your IP address can bankrupt you. In China, online influencers with bad values can be permanently banned from streaming, even for off-platform behavior. If a celebrity is caught cheating, gambling, or speaking against the state, their live streams vanish. In 2021, actress Zheng Shuang was erased after a scandal, her online presence deleted as if she never existed. Unlike the West, where controversy often fuels fame, here it's a digital death sentence. Your character offline can erase your career online. In Iraq, posting a satirical meme that undermines society's morals can bring jail time under the cybercrime law. In 2022, TikTok stars were arrested for indecent dancing videos. The absurdity? These clips were ordinary by global standards, no different than what teens post in the US every second. Yet here, a TikTok dance became a criminal offense. It proves how an app meant for fun can suddenly turn into a stage for state punishment. In Australia, every single video game must be classified by the Australian Classification Board, and titles deemed too violent, sexual, or drug-related are banned nationwide. Games like Mortal Kombat and Fallout 3 once faced bans until censored versions were released. Even mods can risk classification violations. The irony? Violent movies pass through uncensored, but in gaming, a pixelated syringe or suggestive animation can erase an entire title from shelves. In Russia, blogging without registering with the state is illegal if your account exceeds 3,000 daily readers. Once that threshold is hit, you're legally treated like a journalist, forced to reveal your identity, follow media laws, and accept state oversight. It means that a viral post can transform a private citizen into a government-regulated writer overnight. What should be digital freedom of speech instead becomes a sudden conscription into bureaucracy. In India, PUBG Mobile was outright banned in 2020, framed as a national security risk because it was published by Chinese giant Tencent. But local governments went further. Students were arrested just for playing it. Police in Gujarat detained 10 young men, phones confiscated, charged under a colonial-era law. Imagine, in the world's largest democracy, being caught gaming in public could mean handcuffs, a battle royale in-game, a real-life crackdown outside it. In China, minors are banned from tipping live streamers. No sending money, gifts, or digital roses. The rule was created to curb kids from spending family savings on idols. But the ban stretches further. Children under 16 can't even comment on streams past certain hours. In an era where connection defines youth, being locked out of chat rooms turns digital communities into gated playgrounds. It's not just about gaming time, it's about silencing voices by age. 19. In Iran, women are banned from streaming themselves singing on social media. Platforms like Instagram, one of the few apps not blocked, still see women's voices silenced through censorship and removals. Those who persist risk arrest. Meanwhile, male singers perform freely online. A voice becomes contraband, and an act as simple as sharing a song is turned into rebellion. Every live-streamed melody is not just music, it's resistance. 20. In Singapore, posting fake news on social media can get you charged under the Protection from Online Falsehoods Act, POFMA. But the government itself decides what's false. Entire Facebook posts vanish overnight with mandatory corrections, sometimes even linking back to official state websites. Critics argue it's less about truth and more about silencing dissent. The absurd part? A meme mocking politicians can be labeled falsehood, turning humor itself into regulated information. In North Korea, only a handful of websites exist, and all gaming is tightly controlled by the state. Foreign consoles like PlayStation and Xbox are banned, but the government released its own Red Star OS and pirated PC titles disguised as state-approved. Citizens caught with USB drives of Western games risk prison camps. Imagine living where Mario is contraband, and the simple act of owning FIFA makes you a criminal against the nation. In United States, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA, bans collecting data from kids under 13 without parental consent. Sounds reasonable? Until YouTubers faced massive fines for making cartoon content. In 2019, creators were penalized for videos on toys or Minecraft simply because children might watch them. It created an absurd paradox. Harmless family content was treated as corporate exploitation, while violent or mature content slipped through untouched. In China, a rule once forced players of online games like World of Warcraft to stare at pop-up fatigue warnings after 3 hours. Rewards, loot, and experience points were halved by design, punishing players for long sessions. After 5 hours, the game offered almost no rewards at all. Imagine grinding for hours, only to be told your sword or armor earns half its value. Because you dared to keep playing, fatigue became state law, not personal choice. In United States, Twitch bans the phrase simp if used in a derogatory way. Moderators classify it under harassment, alongside words like incel or virgin. What began as online slang quickly turned into bannable speech, with streamers risking suspension for joking insults. The irony is that entire empires of streamers thrive on edgy humor, yet one sarcastic simp, typed in chat, can end in account deletion. Internet vocabulary became contraband in its birthplace. In Turkey, thousands of websites, including Wikipedia, were banned for years under vague national security concerns. The Wikipedia blackout lasted from 2017 to 2020, cutting millions from the world's knowledge archive. Even today, websites vanish behind government firewalls for hosting terrorist propaganda, a label critics say is often slapped onto political dissent. While students worldwide used Wikipedia to study, Turkish students opened browsers to empty error screens, as knowledge itself became outlawed. In China, streamers are banned from showing tattoos on camera. Broadcasters must cover their skin with tape, sleeves, or digital filters, because tattoos are linked to rebellion and gang culture. Even NBA players appearing on Chinese streams had their ink blurred in real time. While tattoos elsewhere are fashion statements, here they're censored pixels. The human body becomes a battleground, where every inked line is scrubbed to erase individuality. In United States, the digital services tax debates led to Twitch streamers being taxed in foreign countries just for having viewers there. In 2021, French taxes applied to American creators because of their French audience. A gamer in Ohio suddenly owed fees to Paris for livestream donations. Global borders collapsed in real time, but laws didn't. A teenager making pocket money from Minecraft streams could unknowingly be a target of international taxation. In Vietnam, live streamers must get a government license to stream games. Without approval, streaming even League of Legends can be fined or shut down. These licenses can cost thousands, effectively pricing out small creators. A teenager with a webcam and a dream is instantly competing not just with algorithms, but with bureaucracy. The irony, a game about free choice and open maps requires permission slips to even click Go Live. In China, sissy men, effeminate male idols, are banned from appearing on gaming and streaming platforms under state rules to enforce traditional masculinity. Entire boy band-style aesthetics are erased with AI filters or bans. Where global K-pop thrives, China rewrites its digital masculinity code. A hairstyle, a soft smile, or a pastel outfit can trigger removal. Here, fashion isn't just censored, it's politically policed. In Pakistan, TikTok has been banned multiple times since 2020 for immoral and indecent content. Each time, the ban is lifted after backlash, only to return weeks later in another wave. The cycle created absurdity. Creators never knew if their accounts would exist tomorrow. Millions built careers on the app, only to see their work vanish like sandcastles washed by political tides. The platform became less about trends and more about survival in uncertainty. In China, players of online games are forced to register using their real names and national ID numbers. Even mobile games like Honor of Kings won't launch without state verification. This system allows direct monitoring of who is playing, how long, and when. In 2021, the system was linked with facial recognition, forcing kids to literally scan their faces to continue past curfews. In a place where avatars once symbolized freedom, now even your digital knight or wizard must wear your real face. In Germany, the Jugendschutzgesetz, Youth Protection Act, treats loot boxes like gambling. In 2022, some politicians pushed to classify games like FIFA Ultimate Team as gambling products, meaning they could only be sold to adults. While the law is debated, German courts have fined companies for hiding odds in loot boxes. Imagine buying a soccer game, only to discover your card packs are treated like slot machines in the eyes of regulators. Digital trading cards turned into legal roulette. In Myanmar, posting even a like on a political Facebook post can result in imprisonment under the telecommunications law. During the 2021 coup, authorities tracked citizens through social media interactions, not just original posts. People were arrested for emojis, shares, or trivial comments. In most countries, a thumbs up is meaningless, but here, it becomes evidence of sedition. Clicking like could literally change your life, turning casual scrolling into silent rebellion. In China, live streamers are forbidden from eating large amounts of food on camera, known as the crackdown on mukbang culture. Officials declared binge eating wasteful, targeting streamers who consume dozens of burgers or mountains of noodles. Platforms purge accounts promoting food waste. What was once entertaining excess now risks deletion. The screen that once celebrated gluttony becomes a battlefield of morality where every bite is monitored for political correctness. In United States, the Music Modernization Act has caused Twitch streamers to face sudden DMCA takedowns, even for background music in games. Streamers were banned mid-broadcast for songs they didn't even control. Imagine walking into a digital tavern in World of Warcraft and being muted globally because the loot song resembled copyrighted material. The absurdity: a gamer can face lawsuits not for their voice, but for the AI bard playing in the background. In Saudi Arabia, women once needed male guardian permission to access internet cafes. While the rule has relaxed, stories remain of women being denied entry unless accompanied by a male relative. Internet access wasn't just a technical service. It was filtered through patriarchal authority. Where the web elsewhere was a portal to freedom, here it was a door locked with social codes, reminding everyone that cyberspace still bowed to offline hierarchies. In Brazil, the government has repeatedly ordered WhatsApp blockades nationwide, punishing the app for refusing to hand over encrypted user data. Millions woke up to dead apps, businesses paralyzed, families cut off. Judges imposed multi-day shutdowns as if turning off electricity. In a country where WhatsApp is lifeline, this punishment was collective, not against criminals, but against an entire nation. Encryption, meant to protect privacy, instead invited blackout. In Japan, game companies once imposed anti-night play mechanics in arcades. If children under 16 stayed past 10 p.m., arcade staff were required by law to eject them. Imagine being in the middle of your final Street Fighter match, only to be escorted out because the clock struck 10. Neon-lit gaming palaces turned into pumpkin carriages at curfew, echoing a law that treated kids not as customers, but as Cinderella with tokens. In China, broadcasters are banned from streaming content that shows wealth flaunting, luxury cars, designer clothing hauls, or even money-stacking stunts can get you banned. Platforms purge influencers who show off material success, calling it toxic culture. A Lamborghini Flex video that would make millions on YouTube is a crime on Chinese TikTok. The absurd irony. In a capitalist-driven internet elsewhere, here the rich must pretend to be ordinary online. In Ethiopia, during political unrest, the government ordered nationwide internet shutdowns, cutting citizens from all social media and gaming platforms. Exam season brought blackouts, too, to prevent cheating. Imagine your country going dark for days, not by nature but by design, your memes, games, and messages erased in silence. The absurdity isn't just the shutdown itself, but the fact. It's used as an everyday policy tool where connection becomes a privilege toggled like a switch. In United Kingdom, the Digital Economy Act once demanded porn sites verify users with government-approved ID checks. Critics mocked it as the porn license, warning of massive leaks of sexual data. Though scrapped in 2019, the plan nearly created a world where your passport number would be tied to adult browsing habits, a rule so invasive that millions feared embarrassment not from viewing, but from being recorded on a government list of viewers forever. In United States, the Communications Decency Act Section 230 shields platforms from liability for user posts, but with a twist. It allows companies to censor anything objectionable. This bizarre freedom to censor has led to takedowns of breastfeeding photos, historical war images, and even Shakespeare quotes flagged as hate speech. A law meant to preserve free speech has turned platforms into digital gods, deleting history or biology with the flick of an algorithm. In South Korea, boosting accounts in games like League of Legends, playing on someone else's account for rank, was criminalized in 2019. The game boosting prohibition law made selling boosts punishable by fines and jail. What was once shady but harmless hustling became a crime. Imagine sitting in a PC cafe grinding for gold on a stranger's account only for police to walk in as if you were a bank hacker. Pixels became prosecutable fraud. In Egypt, women have been jailed for indecency simply for posting TikTok dances. Influencers like Hanin Hossam were sentenced to years in prison under cybercrime and morality laws. Clips that would trend as harmless fun elsewhere became evidence of corruption here. The absurdity is brutal. A viral dance meant to entertain suddenly shackles its creator. The screen that made them famous turns into the courtroom projector that convicts them. In China, players of online games like PUBG once faced random blood color censorship. Blood effects were forced to appear green or black instead of red, under laws restricting violent imagery. Corpses even vanished seconds after death. Imagine fighting an intense match only for your victory scene to look like green paint splashes and disappearing enemies. Violence wasn't erased, it was, painted in alien shades, turning war zones into cartoonish parodies. In Russia, the bloggers law forces anyone with over 3,000 daily readers to register with the government, disclose personal details, and store their data on Russian soil. Even memes are archived for state access. Failure means being fined or blocked. A teenager gaining popularity overnight can suddenly become a legal entity forced into bureaucratic chains. Viral fame becomes less about success and more about surviving surveillance. In India, WhatsApp groups require admins to take responsibility for every post. If a member shares fake news or offensive content, the admin can be arrested. Imagine running a school reunion chat or a family group only to find yourself legally liable for your uncle's forwarded conspiracy theory. The burden turns friendship into liability, making every group chat a potential trap. A role meant for organizing memes becomes a legally binding duty. In the United States, until 2011, some states enforced arcade curfews for minors, banning kids from playing pinball or arcade games past certain hours. Rooted in 20th century fears of delinquency, these rules survived into the digital age, long after home consoles became mainstream. Imagine getting carded not for alcohol, but to play Pac-Man at midnight. The law confused neon-lit fun with crime, turning kids into outlaws for chasing high scores. In Indonesia, in 2022, tech giants like Google, Meta, and TikTok were threatened with nationwide bans unless they complied with new rules forcing them to censor prohibited content on demand. That included anything the government deemed a threat to public order. For a moment, Indonesians nearly lost access to Gmail and YouTube entirely. The absurdity? The rule wasn't about illegal crimes. It was about memes, criticism, or even political jokes. In China, women were once banned from streaming and cosplay that revealed cleavage, even in harmless anime costumes. Platforms blurred their chests or banned them outright for vulgarity. Streamers resorted to wearing turtlenecks under fantasy armor, or padding themselves with scarves. While their male counterparts could play shirtless or flex muscles, women's digital avatars were policed down to the neckline. Fantasy worlds were censored not by lore but by moral law.